This is the best behaved crowd I've ever seen. It's never taken one shush in my entire life. Hi, my name is Shuli Karkowski, and I am delighted to be here as the CEO of Moving Traditions. Tonight is a really big one. We are celebrating the 20th birthday of Moving Traditions. Yay. Our teen organization isn't a teen anymore. It's kind of a big deal. And we are celebrating Rabbi Darcie Crystal. I'm already getting teary. A person who has had an indelible impact on the organization and on me. This room feels really special. One reason is that there are a lot of people in this room responsible for getting Moving Traditions to this point. I want to recognize our founding CEO, Deborah Meyer, who's sitting right in front of me. Our founding chair, Sally Gottesman. None of this would exist without you. We also have in this room every subsequent chair of Moving Traditions who ever served, including Hope Sutton, Rabbi Darcie Crystal, and Elise Everett. We are also on the heels of what was genuinely an incredible board meeting today. And so we have the Moving Traditions board here with me tonight. And I'm going to ask actually everyone who I just mentioned, every former and current member of the board who is here tonight, I'd love for you to stand so we can thank you for what you've done. This job, CEO of Moving Traditions, I think I said it 6 times tonight, is like one of the greatest jobs in the world. And I actually did not think this is where I would spend my career. I started my career as a litigator at a large New York law firm, and it only took me a couple of years to decide that was not my calling and not where I belonged. And I made this big transition to the Jewish nonprofit world, and I came home after my first full week in the nonprofit world, and my husband said, "How was it?" And I responded, "Everybody had a lot of feelings." And it's a funny story in part because what are feelings doing in a workplace? Except that Moving Traditions has caused me to reevaluate that. In one of our curricula, we teach a text where King Solomon becomes the paradigm of wisdom. In that text, Solomon doesn't ask to become wise. He has just become king, and he actually asks God for a listening heart, a lev shomeya, the ability to listen despite all of his new power, because he understood how easily great power can numb you to its consequences. God grants Solomon's wish, giving him not a listening heart, but a lev chacham v'navon, a heart, not a brain, that is chacham, wise and intelligent and intellectual, but also navon, deeply understanding in an emotional and spiritual way. In Western culture, we talk a lot about the heart, where feelings reside, and the brain, where knowledge resides. But Solomon reminds us that the greatest wisdom exists where those two things come together. That is what Moving Traditions does. We create Jewish education that allows the head and the heart to both enter the conversation. When we do so, we strive to give teens 3 interconnected outcomes. The first is the confidence that they deserve to be loved for whoever they are, which we call shleimut, the Hebrew word for wholeness. Second, we give teens tools to build community, to be compassionate listeners, how to be a good friend, how to tolerate difficult conversations that can be really hard for teens today. A set of skills we call chesed, the Hebrew word for kindness. Finally, we know that if you give teens confidence and you give them that community, that social capital, they will be in a position today to create a better and more equitable world, which we call tzedek, or justice. We help teens build these outcomes across 10 different programs. Some of those programs, yeah, we know, we're rebranding, we're working on it. Some of those programs provide training and curriculum to Jewish institutions to help make Jewish education come alive. Others allow us to teach the teens directly in one of our 3 leadership fellowship. You're going to meet teens from all of those programs tonight, which is so lucky. When I came to Moving Traditions, I was awed by the programs. In my interviews with Darcie Crystal, the reason I took the job, I remember saying, these programs are amazing. If I were to become CEO, the only thing I would want to do is a whole lot more of them. With Darcie as our chair, and the support of the board and an incredible staff, we passed a wildly ambitious strategic plan that had us doubling in size by 2026, growing from 5,000 to 10,000 teens in 4 short years. Now, just 3 years into that 4-year strategic plan, we have surpassed that goal, reaching 11,000 teens this year. And I am really glad we did, because teens really, really need us. Prior to COVID, we saw rising depression and anxiety among teens, trends that skyrocketed during and after COVID. Since October 7th, we've seen Jewish teens face what they've started to call a dual burden, carrying all the hard and very real stresses of being a teen, topped with the anxiety and pressure of real and constant anti-Semitism, the pressure to represent Israel or the Jewish people when that is not something they signed up to do. It is the greatest privilege in the world to give those teens what they need right now. The gift of pride in their Jewish identity, the gift of Jewish community when they need it the most, the gift of space where they can be themselves without worrying how they're going to be judged, the gift of knowledge and skills to make sense of this highly complicated world, the gift of learning together with their hearts and their minds. Thank you for supporting us and helping us give those gifts to these young people. My job here tonight was to introduce Moving Traditions, but I need to say a few words about Darcie. I'm not really allowed to do this. I opened tonight saying I absolutely love this job. There is no person in the world more responsible for me taking this job than Darcie Crystal. For my first 18 months as CEO, I met with Darcie, the board chair, weekly as the organization weathered political turmoil, finessed budgets, navigated personnel questions, and passed that audacious strategic plan to double in size. Darcie led Moving Traditions through a tumultuous time. She helped the organization navigate COVID, a CEO succession process, and all the difficult conversations that come up when you're growing that quickly. Again and again, the organization asked Darcie the same questions Esther faces on her journey. What does it mean to assume leadership when the future is so uncertain? What does it mean to show your true self under circumstances that are make or break? How do you be your bravest self when so many people are turning to you for wise guidance? Time and again, Darcie responded, Hineni, here I am. To those of us who know her, it seems pretty obvious that Darcie was meant to be the brilliant rabbi she is today. A few years ago, I learned that it didn't always feel that way to her, that there was nothing inevitable about this uber-athletic, hyper-academic, blonde Texan becoming a feminist rabbi.
Okay, I'm not really blonde.
It makes me grateful Moving Traditions is around to help people question those narrow stereotypes and be whoever they want to be with whatever color hair. I am so grateful that Darcie did dedicate her life to this work. Few leaders in this world have her reflective wisdom and her deep well of emotional intelligence. Darcie, thank you for bringing your own Lev Chacham Benavon, your own brilliantly smart and profoundly understanding heart to moving traditions. We are so grateful. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Hannah Crystal, one of our amazing Meyer Gottesman Kol Kolinu Fellows and Darcie and Jonathan's daughter.
Welcome. I'm Hannah Crystal, a Moving Traditions Kol Kolinu Meyer Gottesman Feminist Fellow and the daughter of tonight's honoree, Darcie Crystal. Over the next 25 minutes, you will take part in an experiential program designed to give you a taste of some of the magic of moving traditions. I've been part of that magic this year through my experiences as a Kol Kolinu Fellow, and I look forward to sharing more about that with you in a little while. My experience was unique, but was part of a larger set of programs offered by Moving Traditions to help us teens better understand ourselves through connecting to one another and to Jewish wisdom and tradition. So now I'm going to turn this over to Pamela Barkley, Moving Traditions Chief of Growth, to get us started with a popular Moving Traditions tool, the barometer.
So I hope you all had a chance to look at the Esther exhibit in there, because we're going to take off from that, right? It's sort of known that Esther had a lot of courage. But what is courage and what goes into having that kind of courage is what we're going to explore tonight. Both physically, emotionally, spiritually, interpersonally, all the different ways that Esther portrays courage. That's our theme for the evening. So I'm going to ask my teens to come on up. Come on up. And what I'm going to first just have you do so you know who they all are is I'm just going to ask you each to introduce yourselves, say where you live, this is easy, where you live and what Moving Traditions program you're a part of. Got it? Name, where you live, what Moving Traditions program. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jack Levine. I'm from Montclair, New Jersey, and I am part of the Kulam teaching assistant program.
Hi, I'm Eliashi Ben Moshe. I'm from Westchester, and I'm a part of Kumi.
Hi, I'm Orly. I'm from Manhattan, and I'm an editor for Jacobs Plus magazine.
Woo-hoo.
I'm Hannah, and I'm from New York City, and I am a part of the Kol Kolinu Fellowship.
Awesome. Okay. So here's how it's gonna go. Because we're not gonna make you all get up and walk back and forth with a barometer, because too many of you, we're gonna use a really high-tech barometer. Everyone ready? You're all gonna take it out right now. Go like this with your hands. Okay. Hold that for 1 sec so they can hear me. So, if something I say, or one of them says, you're like, yeah, your hand's gonna go all like this. See the high-tech barometer we got here? If it's absolutely not, you're gonna be like this, and if it's somewhere in between, you're gonna do wherever you wanna go. Everyone got the game? Cool, okay. So here's the first question. I'll take my mic back. Thank you. I know people who have had to have courage in the face of adversity. You agree? Hands up. Wow, look at all those fun hands. Look at all those fun hands. I love it. Who you got? Who had to have courage in the face of adversity?
We have a friend whose daughter struggled with cancer.
A friend whose daughter struggled with cancer. Terrific. Who you got?
I've known a lot of people who also have had health issues and have struggled.
Right, so courage in the face of a health emergency of some sort. And I'm sure if we went around, all of you, because all of you were way up here, no one was down there, you'd all have the answer. We know what it's like. We ourselves know for ourselves, and you've known people. All right, we got some other questions going on here.
In the last 3 months, I broke a rule or challenged a norm.
Wow. There were some hands that went like right up, and I'm just like, wow, what's that story? Suzanne, what you got for us? No, okay. I have to be kidding. That tracks. Yeah, absolutely. Someone else. What rule did you break? Obviously, you want to be able to share this in public. I got it. Anyone else have one they're willing to share? Come on. Everyone's hands went up. Go ahead.
The dress code was dresses for women and I wore pants.
Yeah. Don't tell me what to wear. Challenging the norm. Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead.
In the last 3 months, I have hidden some aspect of my identity.
In the last 3 months, I've hidden some aspect of my identity. Take your applause meters out again. Hold on. Read that question one more time.
In the last 3 months, I have hidden some aspect of my identity.
Okay. What you got?
I have a child who's non-binary, but I've let people use she, her pronouns.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. 100%. Thank you. Go ahead.
In the last 3 months, I spoke with someone who shared with me that they had hidden an aspect of their identity.
Someone else that you know. Someone else you know. Yeah. Who you got? Yeah, sure. Too many college students afraid to talk about being Jewish or being Zionist. Anyone put their hand up for that one? Other people? Yeah. Pretty common one we hear, right? It's live in the world right now. Really hard.
In the last 3 months, I've had to take time to think through a major decision.
Now, people. Pull out your applause meters again. Pull out your applause meter. We're going to redo that one. You're going to have to ask that again. Everyone get out your applause meters. I know. High tech. It's hard. All right. One more time.
In the last 3 months, I've had to take time to think through a major decision.
We got some decisions going. Go ahead. What's your major decision, Eden? Eden, go ahead.
I had to decide where I was going to go to practice.
Oh, yeah, that's a go. Any seniors here deciding about college and things like that? Yeah, no major decisions here. Any grown-ups want to fess up to some decisions they may have made in the last couple of months? What's a decision you made? What's a decision you made? Anyone? I'll stay here all night. Y'all have met me. Go ahead.
We're renovating our house.
Yep.
We needed to decide where we were going to go while our roof is torn off.
Oh, that's a good idea. Don't stay in a house with a roof torn off. That would be really not fun. Terrific. So we all know that sometimes all the questions that they've just asked are all part, actually, of that story of Esther, right? The courage in the face of adversity, the having to decide something that's really hard to decide, breaking some rules, things of that nature. So these are all just part of that Esther story that is in that exhibit and the Esther story that is part of our tradition. So what we're going to do is, in case you forgot it a little bit, we're going to do a little quick telling of the story. So what I would like to ask my teens to do is to go on and sit down for a few minutes, and I would like to call up my colleague, Rabbi Daniel Brenner.
Okay, we're going to do this in 90 seconds. I don't have time for costume changes, so first, now just imagine me with like a plastic crown, like Biggie, or if you come from another era, Jughead. Okay, like that's the first costume, and then for the second costume, just imagine a large Hamantaschen on my head. Okay, and in 90 seconds, here is the Purim story. Let's go.
Everyone ready? Here we go. King Ahasuerus holds a grand feast and orders his queen Vashti,
dance before me with your crown.
Vashti refuses. So the king says,
forget Vashti. Let's have a beauty pageant and pick a new queen for me.
hold on. He chooses a beautiful Jewish contestant, Esther, though he doesn't know her heritage. Meanwhile, Esther's cousin and guardian, Mordecai, he uncovers a plot to assassinate the king and saves his life. The king's advisor, Haman, walks by him and says,
Boo! Bow down to me!
Mordecai refuses because he's Jewish. Haman convinces the king to issue a decree to kill all the Jews. Mordecai urges Esther to plead with the king, but she tells him how dangerous it is to go before the king unsummoned. Then Mordecai sends a complex message to Esther saying 3 things.
Do not imagine that you, of all the Jews, will escape with your life by being in the king's palace.
And then he says,
If you keep silent, relief and deliverance for the Jews will come from another place, but you will perish.
and then he wonders aloud.
Umi yodea im le'et kazot higaat lamalchut. Perhaps you have come to your royal position for just such a time as this.
So what happened? Esther got this pretty serious charge from her guardian and Uncle Mordecai. Take a moment and just think about it. We don't know. Did she sit with it by herself? Did she consult wise women in her life? Did she talk it over with a friend? Did she pray? Or did she know right away, the second he said that to her, what she was going to do? What we know is that eventually she not only took up the challenge, we know that she took this, what I find incredibly inspiring and powerful step of asking all of the people of Shushan, all of the Jews of Shushan, to fast with her for 3 days. And only after that did she make the step of risking her life, because she was going to the king without permission, to plead on behalf of the Jewish people. How did she make that decision? If this were a Moving Traditions program, and you were participants in that program, this is a moment where we would go from our big Jewish text, our inspiring Jewish text, and invite you as teen participants or in Bar Mitzvah as parent participants to think about the question yourself. How have I, in my life, made a decision like this? Has there been a time when I was faced with this opportunity to live my values, to move into them more? Perhaps I'm there right now, and I'm trying to figure out, where do I get my courage from? So what I'm going to invite you to do at this moment, take a moment first to think about it yourself, and then try to come up with a story. It might be a story about you, but we know sometimes it's hard to tell stories about ourselves or to think about them. So it could also be a story about someone else, someone that you really admire, who made a decision that you really admire. And you're going to turn to somebody next to you, and you're going to each take a moment to share a story and listen to a story. And we're going to fill this room with these stories of courageous decision making and how that happens. Okay? Got it? Enjoy. Should I tell them? If you haven't switched partners, switch partners. Are they? All right, if you've heard a really inspiring story from your partner, let us know.
Have one? Anybody have an inspiring story that they heard or hear? Anybody hear something inspiring? Anything? Or say something about when you lived your values? Anybody? Come on, this is very informal. Anybody have a story about somebody who lived out their values that they're willing to share? Anybody, anything? Yeah, you saved us. First of all, you're living your values right there. Okay, tell us a little bit about it.
I was talking to my wife about the courage of her mom, who was not that involved with her Judaism, but decided as an adult to go for an adult bat mitzvah and put herself out publicly to study, to get involved in a community that she had never been involved with, and to go forward with that. And that took a lot of courage and was inspiring.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much.
When I was in college, I was part of the protest of the redoing the march from Selma to Montgomery, which in that particular year was for voters' rights. And I was part of a cohort of white students who were basically deployed along certain lines in certain locations to be the barrier between the police and the black participants who needed protection. So I told my mom afterward.
Amazing. There are your stories tomorrow. I'm sure there are many more. But
Yeah. Thank you so much. I have chills just from hearing these two of so many stories in this space of, in this case, courageous women. And I want to invite you now to go with me back for a moment to Esther, standing there in a Persian courtyard, maybe with that glowing Rembrandt visage that we just saw in the other room. And she's reading this letter from Mordecai and pondering what to do. And I want to tell you what I think when I think about her. I think that we don't know the whole story. This is called feminist midrash. I think that when Esther was there trying to decide what to do, whether to take this most consequential meeting of her life, part of what helped her say yes was that she got a secret visit in the courtyard by the first banished queen, Vashti. So why do I like to imagine this? Well, because I believe and have seen how finding one's voice and courage, especially for teen girls, which is how Moving Traditions started, but really for all of us, whoever we are, is a process that so often involves mentorship and role modeling. And I have seen, and tonight part of what we are celebrating is how one woman's courageous leadership can support another woman's courageous leadership. And how in this case, as I like to imagine it, Vashti's powerful example of defying the king's order when he told her to come dance, perhaps just in her crown, could have ended up supporting Esther's defying the king in her decision to appear at his door unannounced. Now, another reason I like to imagine this is because usually when there are two queens, whether it's in Wicked or in the book of Esther, or when there are two women in power in our culture, what do? Or in social media, we put them against each other. One is bad and one is good. But we know how to resist that. And in the scroll of Esther, it is actually Vashti's no and Esther's yes that both give us powerful examples of risk-taking. They both involved breaking rules. that insisted that women simply comply with a system that didn't fully honor their agency. In the scroll of Esther and in other moments of Jewish history, and probably right now in many places, women breaking the rules has helped save the Jewish people. And so in my midrash, Vasti helps Esther, and in her way, Esther vindicates Vashti. And we get to tell a story about mutual support. And that's the kind of story that we're about telling and creating. All right, we're going to invite the teens back up.
So I just want to say, when we spoke with the teens before tonight, we just had one message, which is be your authentic self. And that's kind of what the Moving Traditions message is in general. To be your authentic self, to speak from your heart, and to share a little bit about what you've learned. All of these teens have been part of a Moving Traditions program that has helped them think about courage, helped them think about leadership, helped them think about their Jewish identity. But we're really giving them the freedom to share their own experience and what it has meant to them to be part of that experience.
When I was preparing for this, they asked us to think of one moment or one activity that we did that made us come to that conclusion. And one activity that stuck out to me at one of the retreats that we did was where we split into groups, and one person had a strong connection to Israel, one person had sort of a connection to Israel, and one person didn't feel they had a connection to Israel at all. And we sort of discussed our feelings on that topic, and it made me realize where a lot of our perspectives and our identities are shaped from where we come from or what we've grown up with or what we learn. And I was able to form connections with others aside from our past or aside from politics or aside from our different perspectives, and it also allowed me to learn more about my identity and how my personal life has sort of shaped my identity. So that was definitely a moment that stuck out to me.
I wrote mine on my notes app. So, my name is Eliashu. This is my second year attending Kumi and a Kumi retreat, and through participating in events like Havdalah and going through and meeting new friends, I saw the importance of Judaism and the values that brings us together. I vividly remember a time after Havdalah, I met my friend Coley. We sat down together and we talked about how rare it was for African Americans to be Jewish. As me and him shared that similarity, we both shared experiences and we talked deeper about how we felt about our identities. We talked about the struggles and how he felt like an outsider in both spaces. Listening to stories of others and sharing my own helped me realize that my experiences and beliefs were part of a larger shared experience, and it's not just me feeling apart from most Jewish kids. Kumi has helped me find a place where Jews of color can come together and find each other, and a place in a wider Jewish community.
During the program, Kulam, as a teaching assistant, one lesson really stood out to me, which was respecting the kids as if they're a peer. And so I work with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders at my Hebrew school. And before the training, when a kid would act out or do something that was not immature, but like that was seen as disrespectful or an act of like defiance, I used to have trouble managing my emotions. But after the trainings, I remember thinking back on a specific time, it was just a lot easier to like manage my emotions and see them as another person and see them as another person going through the same things that I go through every day, and like it was a lot easier to see them like through their eyes and like just understand how they felt and understand why they were defying or acting the way they were instead of just reprimanding them for it. So I'm really grateful for that experience.
So J Girls Plus is an online Jewish feminist literary magazine, and so part of my responsibility as an editor is to give feedback and communicate with the contributors. And one day I received an email asking why my department had chosen to reject a piece. And I really didn't know what to say because I had never felt comfortable telling someone no in that direct manner and telling them exactly why. And I realized that that was an issue. I think that giving that kind of feedback is a really important feminist value and also a Jewish value. And so I felt that I could go to our editorial advisor and as well as our entire editorial board, and I asked them for help of how do I practice giving this kind of feedback. And I led a workshop on thinking through this value, and at the end I sent the letter, and I have felt more confident doing so since then. So I'm very grateful for that experience.
Every time I hear stories like this, my heart is full. I mean, just the themes that come up, listening to people in the Jewish community talk across difference and try to understand each other, and listening to people in the Jewish community finding each other and finding solidarity and being together as minorities in a larger Jewish community, but feeling the beauty and light of the Havdalah. Thinking about the way the Jewish community teaches us about the very act of teaching and puts education as central and the kindness and compassion of a teacher as one of our highest values. And finally, setting boundaries, like learning how to set boundaries as a human being, learning how to say yes and how to say no. Like all of you had profound experiences. Thank you so much for sharing part of your experience. And I just want everyone here to imagine this is for teens. As Shuli said earlier, 11,000 teens have been part of a Moving Traditions program. And I just also want to say that's hundreds of amazing educators and rabbis and cantors who make those programs possible in hundreds of Jewish institutions. So thank you all for your beautiful words, and thank you for being here with us tonight. This work does not happen without amazing volunteer leadership, and it is now my honor to pass on this microphone to our board chair, Elise Everett, who, big round of applause, who has brought so much spirit and energy. So thank you all, and I'm going to pass it over to Elise.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Elise Everett, and I have the honor of serving as the current chair of the Board of Moving Traditions. And tonight, in this beautiful space at the Jewish Museum, I have the privilege of recognizing someone who has not only shaped this organization in profound ways, but who has also shaped me, Rabbi Darcie Crystal. Darcie, I want to thank you, not just on behalf of the board or the Moving Traditions community, but from the bottom of my heart. I still vividly remember my first board meeting. I was a little nervous, unsure how I fit into this impressive group, and somehow, by what now feels like divine intervention, I offered to give you a ride afterward. I drove you to your cousin's home, and over the course of that 45-minute drive, something shifted. What I thought would be a simple favor became the start of a mentorship, a friendship, and a true partnership. You asked thoughtful questions, listened deeply, and shared your own journey with such honesty and warmth. You made me feel welcomed grounded, inspired, and you instantly became my board buddy. And as we got to know each other, we discovered something kind of amazing. We were raising children the same age, living through the same stage of life, juggling work, leadership, parenting, and everything in between. And then the moment that maybe truly sealed it, we found out our youngest children have the same exact birthday. We became fellow soccer moms, bonding over logistics, laughter, and the chaos of beautiful everyday life. That kind of connection doesn't come around often, and it's one I truly treasure. Darcie, somehow you balance it all with quiet, steady grace. You make it look effortless, even though we both know it isn't. You've shown me, and so many others, that it's possible to lead with intention, to show up fully for your family and your community, and to do it with warmth, presence, and humility. And you brought that same grounded leadership to Moving Traditions during a time of extraordinary change. During your time as chair, you helped us guide us through the COVID crisis, keeping us connected and mission-driven. You were a key member of the search committee that brought us the phenomenal Shuli Karkowski. You championed the adoption of a bold new strategic plan, and you supported our transition from a permanent office to a virtual one, all while helping us hold on to our values, our vision, and each other. You were there for it all, steady, wise, and deeply rooted in purpose. Which brings me to the gift that we're presenting you tonight. Darcie, can you join me up here? So the gift, hold this up for 1 second. Want me to hold it? Sure. Let you hold it. I'll bring this way. Oops, sorry. Okay, the gift. It's a personalized, beautiful personalized paper cut featuring the verse from the book of Esther that we've all heard tonight. But it reads, "Perhaps you have come to this position for a time such as this." Darcie, these words feel like they were written just for you. Like Esther, you stepped into a moment that called for courage, compassion, and clarity, and you offered all of that and more. You didn't just serve, you inspired, and you helped carry us forward. And for me personally, you've been my Esther, a mentor, a friend, a fellow mom, navigating the messy, meaningful work of life and leadership, and a living reminder that strength and grace can go hand in hand. So on behalf of all of us, thank you for your wisdom, for your example, and for your deep devotion to this community. With heartfelt appreciation, this is for you. Everything. Who wants a picture? Of course. Wait, let's put this right here. Oh yeah, mine's here. Thank you. The problem with going last is that you will hear, again, some of the great things that have already been said. First, I just want to thank our amazing staff, Pam and Rabbi Tamara and Rabbi Daniel, for putting together that program. I want to thank the teens for making time to be here and for sharing your experiences with all of us. Of course, I want to thank Hannah for helping with the program too. And I just want to start by thanking our founders, Deborah and Sally. Truly courageous to have started something like this when you did. And I hope that you're as proud as I am and that all of us are for the incredible work that Moving Traditions does and the number of lives it has changed. So thank you to our founders. I knew tonight would be amazing, but you have outdone yourselves. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you tonight, celebrating an organization that means so much to me. I'm so grateful to all of my friends, my family, my colleagues, and Moving Traditions staff and loyal supporters for being here tonight and for responding to our call. When we started talking about tonight, I knew it would be special to hold this benefit in a place that has been so important to our family. The Jewish Museum is a gem in New York, and we have been connected to it for almost 2 decades, as Jonathan has been on the board of the museum almost 20 years. What I could not have imagined, though, was that the current exhibition, The Book of Esther in the Age of Rembrandt, would be the backdrop for this event as we contemplate the importance of bold leadership at this turbulent moment. I hope all of you had a chance to view the exhibition, or that you'll come back soon to spend more time enjoying it. Rabbi Tamara gave us an incredible midrash. I loved it. But I'm going to say a few more words about Esther, even though we're past Purim now, but I just can't resist. She's truly one of my favorite women in the Tanakh. So she was at the right place at the right time. And yes, Mordecai does warn her that she won't be spared if the decree to exterminate the Jews of Shushan is enforced. It's his pep talk that gives us the line that everything was based on tonight, and we can see it on this incredible gift as well, which I will cherish. So perhaps you have come to your position for just such a time as this. Mordecai gets a lot of credit for coming up with that way to motivate Esther. But Esther is the one that makes the plan to fast for 3 days and to ask the entire community to do that with her, to invite the king and Haman to not 1, but 2 banquets before revealing her identity. She is smart, she is pious, she is patient, she is strategic, she is determined. What a role model she is for all of us. If Moving Traditions can help to instill those qualities in our teens, then the future is in very good hands. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as a board member and board chair and now past chair of Moving Traditions. I have seen the organization respond to the changing world, adding programs, supporting our partners to serve Jewish families, and providing safe spaces for Jewish teens to explore who they are, to build community, and to act to change the world. I am immensely proud to have been on the search committee that brought Shuli to Moving Traditions as our CEO, and to ensure a smooth leadership transition from our founding CEO, Deborah Meyer. In 2022, I know you've already heard this, but I can't not say it. In 2022, we set ambitious goals in our strategic plan, and we have already met and even surpassed them. In that time, we have doubled the number of teens we have reached through our programs. I find it to be simply incredible. I just want to take a moment to thank Shuli and the incredible VOD and the staff, whose vision, dedication, and creativity make all of this possible. I am in awe of Lisa Gersten. For planning and executing this incredible benefit and making every single thing happen. This is truly a labor of love for her, and it shows. So thank you, Lisa. We are so incredibly fortunate that Elise is our amazing board chair. Never for a second did I worry about the board being in her hands. And I'll speak for both of us, Elise, I think we both realize how special and value-driven the members of this board are. I just want to thank all of the past board members that I've served with. So many of you are here. You're not on the board anymore, but you were such an important part of my own board experience, and all of our present board members. I am just inspired by your passion for this work and your deep commitment, and I have loved working alongside each and every one of you. Somehow, this board attracts the best people. And I am so glad to call all of you my friends. As many of you know, all 3 of my kids have participated in Moving Traditions programs. So I have seen Rosh Chodesh, Shevet, and Kol Kolenu from both sides. Hannah and Abram, I am so honored that you are here tonight, and I could not be prouder of the people you are and the people you are becoming. I love you so much. We miss Eli, but he is in the midst of finals week and lacrosse conference playoffs, so there was no way for him to make it to New York tonight, but he is with us in spirit. Wendy, my oldest best friend, not old, but just, since 5th grade, we go back to 5th grade, who then became a colleague and then became a cousin. We'll tell you that story later. Thank you for being a vice chair tonight, an always cheerleader, a role model, and still my very best friend. Thank you for making the trip from Chicago and for being a part of this evening. I love you. Mom and Dad, thank you for making the trip to celebrate with us tonight. My work at Moving Traditions is in fulfillment of the values you instilled in me. I love being able to make you proud. Thank you for everything. I love you. Finally, Jonathan, you have supported me in this and every endeavor. You put a lot of work into making tonight a success. I am so lucky to have you by my side. I love you. I am so touched by this honor and so excited to see how Moving Traditions continues to enrich the lives of Jewish teens and families. Thank you all for being here tonight and for your ongoing support.
Okay, it's a Moving Traditions event, so we have to have a closing ritual. Darcie, that was so beautiful. It's my honor now, along with your dear friend, Rabbi Wendy Geffen, and a very special circle of women, to close the evening with a short ritual of blessing for you. And tonight is Rosh Chodesh, So we are going to. Well, there you go. You left it for me. Thank you. And it's Rosh Chodesh Iyar. The month of Iyar is known, as you know, as a month about healing. And as Wendy and I, you're welcome to come up. As Wendy and I were thinking about your leadership and Rosh Chodesh, tonight I would say you're shining like a full moon. But I've also seen you like a sliver of a moon, not needing to take up all the space, but really supporting so many others. And that's the kind of balance of leadership that I have felt you have given us. And so we want to celebrate that with Rosh Chodesh. So please come up if you know that you're coming up right now. Julie Karkowski, Deborah Meyer, Sally Gottesman, Hope Sutton, Elise Everett, and Darcie's mom, Barbara Dubois, and daughter Hannah Crystal. There are a lot of other women and men in this room and non-binary folks who have been part of starting and supporting moving traditions. All right, here we go. I'm going to also give you. The only problem is you're a little bit in front, but that's okay. That's okay. Everybody, here's your role. We're going to do an adapted version of the priestly blessing for Darcie as we wrap her in a talit. And what you are going to all say after each of the 3 verses is just the words, Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Yivarchech Adonai v'yishmerech.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. Ta'er Shaddai paneha elayich v'tichonech. Ken
Yehi Ratzon.
Yisa Adonai panav elayich v'yasem lach shalom. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May you be so blessed. Thank you. Okay, I invite you now to slowly get up and enjoy dessert. Enjoy the beautiful exhibit if you haven't seen it. And I hope you walk away invigorated to say, yes, I am ready for a time like this because I am connected to others who are ready. Erev Tov.